Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yep, I'm here.
Awesome.
Hi, Kate.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, KateSlate11.
Kate, we were just talking a lot about some of the, like we were connecting the CFR to Sandy Hook and many of the other false flags. I was talking about Project Longevity, which was introduced 2 weeks before Sandy Hook on November 27th by Eric Holder. I don't know if you've looked into that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Brainwashing.
Yeah, and of course, where it started, we were talking about, is it Rose de Lima? You wanted to talk about that before. You had looked into that a lot, right?
The school?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the drill I was talking about, the drill in question that we were talking about, guys, was planning for the needs of children in disasters. That was the same day. That took place between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Where?
That is what I was going to talk with Kate about. The drill, the FEMA drill going on that same day, Kate?
Yeah. Wasn't that Danbury? Or do I have that wrong?
Okay. I believe you are correct. I'm not quite 100%.
Because what I was speculating before, because they've had quite a few of these drills. I remember seeing some footage of Paul Vance taking part in a drill that I think was, if I'm not mistaken, a year or two before Sandy Hook itself. But it was very similar, where they used crisis actors and had phony wounds and stuff like that, amputee actors. Do you remember that at all, Kate?
Yes, in fact, Vance has interviewed about that. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a news report about it.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't know the exact time that happened, but I knew that that there was other sort of drills there's always drills. They love their freaking drills. But if this drill, what was the drill called again there, RPR?
Planning for the needs of children in disasters, I believe. FEMA. The FEMA drill. I think it was, it's Bridgeport, Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken, and between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. December 14th.
Wow.
And you know what's funny is I remember a young kid, like maybe 9 years old, on YouTube even actually talked about that. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was this little 9-year-old kid who's like, I found it odd that there was a drill, the same day, and he's like one of these kids. I've seen 2 kids like that upload a video of Sandy Hook Truth, like, kind of early on, and he's one of these kids. He's like, it's odd, and I have the drill here if you guys want to look at it.
Yes.
And I'll leave a link, but I have it in my favorites. So he even brought up this FEMA drill here. So
that's something, eh?
It's definitely
and get to that kid. They're gonna have to straighten him out.
Yes, yeah. There was another little girl who also did the same thing and uploaded her thoughts on Sandy Hook, and she was only 8 years old, and she was right on the money. So good to see that when young kids even know more than the most of the sheeple, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's always promising to see. That's why
it's programmed.
Yeah. Gives me hope. We always have to have positive hope, positive moments like that, and savor those. So I saved it. Definitely watch that every now and then. I'll leave some links. You guys can watch them. There's 2 videos here that I've saved.
I think I remember seeing him. Wasn't he sitting in like an office chair?
Yeah, a little boy,
Yeah.
And there was also a girl. Yeah, it's also a black girl, if I'm not mistaken. I'll pull it up here. But so I was trying to figure out if the drill took place at St. Rose of Lima that day, but I don't think that's the one. So.
But was it Bridgeport or Danbury, perhaps?
It was only 14 miles away. I know it was real close, but I can't remember what town it was in. Well, a couple of times I've mentioned that the cafeteria showed no indication of the breakfasts, which is pretty incidental for a point, but the cafeteria is in pristine condition. I mean, all the tables are wiped down and just very clean. It doesn't look like there's any garbage. In fact, you can see the big garbage cans in the cooking area. And so you see mini wheat boxes and Cheerios, but just in the storage setting. And I had said it didn't look like any preparation was going on for the lunch that day either, as if nothing was going on. But then as I was reviewing some of the pictures and investigative report last night, I saw a video where some pizzas were starting to be prepared. So I just wanted to throw that out so no disinfo goes out there, because I just have to correct sometimes what I say, and I did see a glimpse of them trying to prepare a couple of pizzas.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There's just when you look at the photos, of course, you can really get sucked in and see so many different things, even though they redacted everything that was important. But it was my sort of theory, I said this before earlier, that the school was probably shut down at that time, and I think that's where we were speculating before, that perhaps the students had been moved to the other school or the other schools, like Rose de Lima, and then that's why you had only like one photograph of students being let out of the school, because obviously it's the more people you involve in this event, then the more loose ends you have to tie up, right?
Absolutely,
exactly. Yeah. And if you want to talk about a revised kind of list, like I mentioned the other day, of why Sandy Hook is a hoax, I know that James Tracy came up with his top 10, right, from Memory Hole blog.
Yeah, they had a bunch of people contributing to that. I remember I covered it, but go ahead.
Yeah, you covered that.
Yeah.
Yes. And, well, I didn't agree with all of his, and I have kind of my own, a couple, to add to that as well. And two of them being that, one being the bodies, the kids obviously, or the parents would have demanded to seeing their kids, like we discussed the other night, would have demanded in reality, okay, in a real world situation, the parents would have demanded to see their kids, and they would have. They would not have settled for photographs in a real event, and that is one very important aspect, and that wasn't listed as one of the reasons that, and that's my pretty much one of my top reasons.
Yeah, Dave and
it's an outright hoax.
Before you guys joined us, Dave and I were saying the same thing. I mean, to me, as I said, I mean, the strongest evidence and it's not the kind of evidence that you can, necessarily present. Other than it just reveals. I mean, there's a natural way for people to act. Yes, everybody reacts to grief differently, perhaps, but to have universally every single family involved act so bizarre, no tears, of course. We've all been through that a million times. Just all the bizarre testimony. I mean, the crazy thing too. I mean, when I think about it, if it was a family member of mine, and somebody stuck a microphone in my face, well, that microphone would end up somewhere very painful on that person's body.
I mean, let's just put it simply. There's no way in hell, no chance in hell that the parents would settle for photographs. Thanks to Wayne Carver's fascinating photographers, he's got very good photographers, as he put it. So we know there's no chance in hell that would happen, ever. Maybe in the Twilight Zone shows.
Well, in 20 for 20, I mean,
yeah,
it just goes against and defies all odds.
Yes, defies all odds, defies reality. And the other thing, of course, that my other reason is, of course, no footage of anything. So those are my top two reasons I like to go to point to people. Listen, I always tell people these two reasons when I'm trying to wake someone up. But,
yeah, they are the best, because there's ample evidence to show that every parent involved in this farce has acted very unparent-like, if that's a word I could use. I mean, they defy all, human emotions. Just the most bizarre things, and every single, of course, this is a funny anecdote, but every single child did something spectacular on the morning that they went off. I mean, the stories that come up, starting with people like Scarlett Lewis, right? That helping, nurturing, healing, or whatever, nurturing, healing, love. That was it. And then the Wheelers with he also wanted to be a paleontologist. Just the stupidest things.
I feel like I'm trapped in a bad movie.
Yes, yes.
I honestly think they have a lot of fun with this stuff. That's why they have a hard time keeping a straight face when they're being interviewed, especially the Parkers, right? They're just so giddy.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess they get to move every week, so it's fun. I don't know.
Yes. Just like the giddiest moment, which I exposed, and I actually had it pulled down from my account. Of course, I don't know if you recall, but I had that video, which was my most viewed Sandy Hook video, pulled down of that moment exposed as far as the Parkers being giddy and joyful to the question of how's the last 3 months been for them. And they just wanted to jump for joy, like they just want a trip to Disneyland. And from how the last 3 months have been, the reason they wanted to jump for joy is because they have been paid, boatloads of money, and they've been in the spotlight. So they reacted in such a way that's indicative of them being new, stars of a Hollywood production and all this publicity. And so that's why they reacted that way. And I got, threats and taking it down. I got the video taken down. So,
like I was going to say, sorry, it's the duping delight, right? They got away with something, so they're
duping
happy.
delight.
It's one of those things that they can't. It's like an involuntary reaction. You can't really control it,
Exactly, man. Yeah. I'm glad you know about that. Paul Stahl actually did some great work on duping delight and got into that on his channel, Paul Stahl Service.
Well, and I think even bringing it up to modern day, you see that duping delight with that Mindy Corporan and that Jewish shooting.
Oh my word!
I mean, she was cut exactly from the same cloth as these Sandy Hook parents. In fact, she was probably originally casted.
Kate just read my mind. I swear, I was just trying to figure out her name while the RPR was finishing up there, and it's like, yes, that's it. That's exactly it. That woman. I mean, she tells the story, and if I'm not mistaken, it's like the day after or something. It was just right after it happened, where she comes into the parking lot and she saw her husband on the ground and knew he was dead, but knew right away. The
dad.
Yeah, the dad. Sorry, the dad.
They
that
call
he
him
was in
Popeye.
heaven. That he was in heaven. So she wasn't upset. And then she saw her son, or somebody held her back and said, "Well, you don't want to see it," or something like that. But she was just perfectly peachy. It seemed giving that interview. I mean, it was unbelievable. My jaw hit the floor, and it's like, not again.
Oh, so again, and she, describing him, he's lifeless, and she talks. Son, read that, he was lifeless, and somebody, like you said, somebody pulled her away, and she's content with that. Again, another parent that's not dive bombing into their kid. I don't understand this at all.
Yes, it defies all human emotions. You're a cyborg. If your kid has been shot and he's on the ground, you are going to do you're going to, like, honestly, you talk about mothers getting superhuman strength, like lifting up a car or something to get their kid out, right? I mean, who the hell is going to be able to stop a mother from getting to her child, and who would even dare, step in the way to begin with? But that's even beside the point, because the fact that she's giving this lengthy sort of very animated interview and can't seem to conjure up even the slightest bit of sadness, well, we've all been down that road and seen that so many times now. This duping.
Well, and it's the conditioning. Yeah, it's the duping, the conditioning to not mourn for your loved ones, to just be happy. It's
Duping
psychotic.